lovely people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, have you been here before? Thank you for coming back. Really appreciate you for coming back, for subscribing, for commenting, for liking. If this is your first time, thank you for coming along. I hope you might find something here. I'm maybe not quite the conventional in some ways, but I'm me. We're on day 8 of Junk Journaling January. And today is antique, and what I've decided to do is I've decided to look out the pieces I'm going to use before I put on the camera. That doesn't mean I won't change my mind and still go digging, but I end up editing out so much that I want to try and stop all that editing time that I'm spending, because editing time isn't crafting time. This was in the journal this way round, but I could have it this way round if I wanted, because this is the first time I'm going to be using this 4-page thing. So I've sort of decided that. The prompt today is antique. And I very quickly went down the vintage route. Well, vintage ain't antique, and I'm not kind of casting aspersions over anybody else. You know, it's your stuff. You do what you want. But for me, the whole point of doing prompts is to try and stick to the prompt in a way that honours the prompt, but I can still put my spin on it. So I went for a big hunt through stuff. I found this which looks like a Louis XIV chair. Now obviously it's on a bit of card, so it's not an antique in itself, but it's a picture of an antique, so I think I'm okay. I feel okay about using that, but I'm not quite sure if I want to use it or not. The other thing I found was this, which is definitely an antique photograph. This is over 100 years old, so I might use that, but it's quite big. And because it's an antique, I'm a wee bit reluctant to tear it up, although I'd be okay about putting something over the top of it. I also, although it's harder to date, I think some of the lace I have is probably antique as well. So I've brought out, on top of, as well as those things, I've brought out some vintage bits that are at least... well, these are all kind of 80 years oldish. They're kind of the 40s, 50s. So yeah, so I'm happy about using these as well, even though they're not antique. Right, and then I decided that I might use this big 8 stamp. Just then, because it is something different. It's a different, rather than keeping it all antique, and I might just stamp it behind first and then build up on top of it. So the 8 is there, but it's kind of in the background, not being too... What I need to do is I need to put a wee marker as to where the edge of that 8 is on the other side. Not being too in your face, but because I'm putting it in the background, I wanted it to be bigger, if that makes sense. So let's see where I get to with these things, see if I end up deciding I want to get out other stuff. But let's get started. Let's start by stamping this. Just wondering whether to do a kind of dark contrast colour or just stick it down. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to use gathered twigs that I've got there at the moment. I'm going to put that up in the corner here. And this is a pound, shilling and pence ledger book, so it comes from at least the 60s. Right, so now let me see. I'm wanting my plan is to actually cover most of this up, and because of this being a horse and cart, that's why I thought I might use a bit of map. I don't know whether I'm going to use you see this is the edge of a map as well, which kind of just gives a nice wee... I like the whole of that actually. I might put that over that. Then this is actually antique paper. I don't know if you can see that. But because it had that orange in as well. This is going to be a very different page to my other pages. But you know what? I think that's okay. I don't mind that. I know some people like their pages all to kind of speak to each other, but I'm okay with them not speaking to each other. This is the thing that's probably the least not antique. Oh, I like that in there though, it just gives a nice lift. And this is a bit of paper from a thing of embroidery, which might be totally, I just like the fact it's a wee kind of scrap, but I'm not sure this is where I want to put it, because it's saying embroidery very loudly to me now. I've remembered it's embroidery because I can see that it says embroidery on it, and it's, I don't know if I want that. I'm kind of liking this as it is. I'm wondering whether I want to put that across there rather than that one. No, I quite like that with all its stuff on it. Do you know what? I think that just needs a word. I'm definitely not going to put the chair on it. But that, I think that's, yeah, I think we just need the word. Let's see if we can find a word that I like. Oh, see, I could put real princess. Is she a real princess in that cart? I can just imagine her sitting in there for the photograph being told, you're the princess. Oh yeah, that's it. We're going to have that. And we're going to need to do some inking here. I think in this instance I want to ink the page. Oh, that's where I use the right end, doesn't it? So that's number 8 today. Maybe I'll just get my red pen out and just do some. And I really don't like that at all. I wanted big dots, and that's not big dots, that's... Let's see. Can I find something else just to put? Oh, see, I could put a bit of this. Why don't I put a bit of this? Well, because it's more writing. Oh, I did have this out to use. Oh no, I had this out to use for something else, didn't I? But that's a bit of red. I could put that in there. No. Oh, just leave it, Kirsten. This is what happens. You become unhappy with something and then you can't leave it alone, and you end up making it a bigger mess than it was originally. Oh, no, look what I've just found. A real princess. There is the Royal Frank that was on an envelope that I cut off the envelope. It was a envelope that had come with a greeting from the sovereign of the day. Now, I don't think I want it. I've had that for ages, just never had the right thing to use it on. But I think that's exactly what I want to use it on. Although I now feel I need a stronger red here. This kind of orangey red isn't enough. although we've got that red line there as well. We need something here though. Do we? Let's put this on now and hide that. Real princess needs a jewel. Let's put a jewel on there as well. Because I have got a notion for a bit of lace again. Really delicate. That's probably too big. Actually, that's probably too big as well. Yeah, that's. Oh, this is antique. Yes, I like that. That's got a more antique feel as well now. Right, there we go. Finally. It is done after all. Number 8, antique. You might have been expecting to see me make number 9 at this point. However, I ended up doing it and not filming it just because I just hadn't put the camera on. I was thinking about what I might do and it just happened. This is an image from a magazine and I stamped winter on a bit of, this is rice paper actually, and I use some glacial paste just to frost up these trees a bit. This is a 9 from this set, number 1205, vocabulary blend. I just kind of love the quirky nature of these. And I can't remember where this came from, but it's kind of a faux policy closure that I've used actually just as a tuck. And then this was on the other side of that magazine page, and it's just, I just thought make a lovely winter type flip, because what I wanted to do, the prompt was hidden, and what I wanted to do was use this first verse from a poem by Christina Rossetti, Winter, My Secret, because a secret is something that's hidden and I'm hiding it in behind here. So I tell my secret, no, indeed not I, perhaps someday, who knows, but not today. It froze and blows and snows, and you're too curious, fie. You want to hear it. Well, only my secret's mine, and I won't tell. And in this poem, she goes through the seasons of the year, and she just never tells the secret. But this is the first stanza, which is winter. And I just thought that was a lovely wee thing to put in there. So that's that one done. We're on to day 10 then. And day 10 is trim. So this is my page I've got for day 10, and trim's a bit like the tuck. I don't want it to be about the background, it needs to be all about the trim, but I do still want to have something on here I like. And if you saw my what was that, I did one recently and I had this bird, and it was this this is a bit of tissue paper. I'm really starting to use all my Your Creative Studio stuff that I never got around to using. I can't remember how many times I've said recently, oh, I got that in Your Creative Studio. And this is another Your Creative Studio bit of tissue paper. And I just thought, and I didn't use this on the thing I was doing the other day because it was too big. And I can't now remember which one it was. I've been doing so many prompts. I think, well, it doesn't matter. But I thought that maybe I could use that as a background to the page, and then the prompt is trim, so I can trim round about there. I don't mean I'm going to trim it, because obviously I'm going to trim it, but I could then put a trim round the page, and I might even just lift that up a bit so that I could put a trim along the bottom without losing. No, let's not do that, because then I might decide I don't want to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. So I've now got, I quite like the fact you can still see through it, which is part of the reason why I wanted to use that. But it's still very there. So I'm now going to trim round certainly those two sides, maybe this side, we shall see. We've got some greeny blue, we've got some red, we've got some green, we've got some all kinds of colours here. I've gathered together some trims that I might use, and I decided that if I was going to if this is going to be trims, I probably needed to be quite generous with them, even to the extent of maybe I have a trim like this that goes over the whole thing and is held down this side, maybe with a bit of this, and then put some other trims round the rest of it. That's maybe not long enough, but I just kind of liked it as a trim, but that's not long enough, so that's going. This one could maybe go across the bottom, or this one. See, this is a serious bit of trim. Or maybe I should maybe put that along that side. It's maybe a bit bright, but it's got I might actually, I've used this before and trimmed off the bit, because the colour inside there is very green, because it's shot silk. It's they use green one way and blue the other way, but that makes it look very, very like that hummingbird. So I really like that colour, so I really feel like I do want to put that down there. I do have some of this in other colours, but this is the colour I think I want to use on here. Let's just cut a bit off that so it's easier to deal with. Whoops. And I think I am going to trim it, so let's just trim that just now as well, again, so it's easier to deal with. I might trim it further, we shall see, or I might just decide to leave it like that, because that actually needs to be, the bit of fabric's too big, so I might put that along there, this along here, because I kind of like that, because I like the fact it hangs out the bottom. But I also have I got an antique sari and took it apart, and it's in several bits. You have several different bits of trim, and actually you see I quite like this. This is quite a wide bit, but actually I could use that up the top maybe. So there's that trim. You end up with these threads of silk all over the place when as soon as you start. This trim is a very fine bit that was on it. Don't think I'm going to use that for that. This is actually a piece of the sari material itself, and that's maybe too, well, that's something else I should have got out for the orange, shouldn't I? That's maybe too orange, although I quite like it. This is lovely. This is another bit of the trim round the sari. If I can find the end, there we go. And this is like, this is gorgeous. This was up right on the edge. I'm not convinced of that either, actually, now seeing it out, because I don't think it's the right kind of colour. I think this one's the right colour, but maybe too wide. But I'm just going to take a bit of this. I'm not going to cut a bit of this one, because I don't know what I might do, you see, is I might use because that has a pattern there and then a bit there. I might use that bit at the bottom and then that bit at the top. That could be quite nice, couldn't it? Am I going to still do the... I think I am, because that's it's all about the trim. It's all about the trim. So still do that so it reveals it. And then, am I going to put this one down the side? Is this all going to be too much? I think it's going to be too much introducing that one as well, so that one can go away. I think what I need to do is I need to heat up my it's going to need a wee irony, I think. Let's tear this down here. Oh, I'm hoping this tears okay. Now what I want to do is I want to keep all that big one and take the small one. Let's iron it using hair straighteners, travel hair straighteners. Let's see, so if I put that down there, I think I do just actually want the gold a bit, don't I? So I'll deal with that. The question is whether I do want that blue bit, don't I? But this needs ironed as well. And then if it starts fraying, that's fine. And if it doesn't start fraying, that's also fine. So put that there. And I want to also trim this down as well. Oh, this one needs an iron. There should be enough heat left in this, let's see. I don't like the way this ends up showing on through, but there's not a lot I can do about that. Well, there is actually. I've just had a thought of something I could do about that. But let's stick it around and see if it's an issue. Oh, I think it is going to be an issue, isn't it? Let's move on to this one. So this is then going to cover the whole thing up. And that means I need to cut that. Okay. Oh, look. Fabulous. Love it. Because it is definitely all about the trim. It's all about the trim, about the trim, about the trim. Right, okay, don't stop that right now, Kirsten. Now, of course, as I said, I've got this bit here that is glue, and I knew I was going to end up with a glue stain, but I need my number. And because there's this empty bit here as well, putting my number here will just stop that feeling so, it's just so kind of manufactured, if you know what I mean, because I ended up with this straight line here. So let me see if we can find a number 10. Or am I going to print a number 10? Or am I going to do something else with a number 10? Because I don't think I'm going to find a number 10, am I? What have we got here? Ooh, ooh, I could use... I know that says 101, But could I use, let me actually, that's just given me an idea. Let me see if I can find a number 10 page. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. See, it's like a tab. So I might even have it overhanging the page. Let's take that up there. It's got a different number on the back, of course, hasn't it? So let's take that round there. Take that round there. Whoops. Didn't make a very good job of that, did you, Catherine? Take that round there. That's too big. And I certainly don't want that pink on it. I need something else on it. If I'm going to use that, which, you know, I'm tempted to use that, then actually I need to put something on here, don't I? I need to put a bit of trim on here. Do I put that on there? Do I put a bit of that on there? But then if I put a bit of that on there, I'm just back to the same problem. Although I could stick that on there. Do I stick that on there? Do I just go for that? It's just this edge is just still then very hard, isn't it? Although what I might do is I could maybe put a bit, I don't want to put a bit of that, because this did have a bit of trim on it, but I decided not to use the bit of trim. So rather than using that, I could maybe just use a bit of that, which is the plain colour. Does that help? Oh, it does help. Right. It's ended up 2 flip outs one after the other, but this is more a cover than a flip out, and it's all about the trim. This one is very wacky, and part of me isn't 100% pleased. I'm not greatly enamoured by this. I'm just wondering, where's that bit? Can I still maybe do a... I'm not convinced though it's not going to end up being... See, I'm just wondering if I had a bit that went all the way up there, whether I'd be happier. I might be happier, but I'm not convinced I can do that without ending up marking it again. So it's going to have to be what it is, unless I can find a different bit of trim to put up there. Like that. So number 10. Nine. 10. And I'm going to think I'm going to leave that open just to make sure everything has dried, so that doesn't stick down on top of that. But I really like that. Another day, another junk journal, January. Today's the 11th. So let's get this page out. And what are we on? Magazine. I wonder. Right, I think I know what I'm going to do straight away, which is a nice feeling. I'm wondering if I want to do anything on the back of that first. Maybe I just want to put some colour down. I'll do the trick. This is an old book page, a blank bit, that comes in, you know, the front and the back of the book. Sometimes you get blank pages. And let's just do the same with this. And if I feel that this is a better thickness, it's just, I would do that normally. I would use that if I was just doing a zine. It's the fact it's going in there and it's quite thick. And because it's quite thick, it's also being a bit temperamental, shall we say, with the folds. And I'm not convinced it's not going to end up, I'll show you what I mean. I'm not convinced it's gonna, but I think a thinner paper like this might not do that. So let's see. I'll still need to do some, because what I want to do is add some colour now. And exactly the same as I did before, I'm just using a thinner paper. Then take that down slightly harder to see where I'm going to. And there's always one bit that that folds better. See, that one there's the one that's going to fold best. See, I do think this is going to stay down nicer than the last one, but I do want to just trim that along the bottom this time, which that's fine. We might put a little tuck for it to slip into, but actually I just want to, well, let's get some colour on this. Can you guess how I'm going to do it? So let's go for Abandoned Coral, Picked Raspberry, and maybe a bit of Seedless Preserves. Full stamps and birds. Let's see if I've got 7 of those. Before we stick that down, what I want is a bit of ribbon maybe. Let's just make a tuck out of this leaf feather one. There we go. Number 11. Done. Thank you so much for watching. I'll get you with number 12, which will be on a new video. But for now, you take care. Keep crafting. Bye.